Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm LaDonna. I'm standing in for Chris tonight, and I thank everyone for being here. Thank you for coming. It's been a long time since I've seen people at the group meeting. And tonight, since Chris is not here, we have a beautiful guest speaker. She's been with us once or twice before, and I'm happy to see her here again. This is Beth Herzig, and she's going to talk about the Metta Sutta this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to be talking about the Metta Sutta, and the Metta is one of the four Brahma Viharas, which is the four immeasurables. This means that it's something that we can practice in sync with one another. So all four of those we should be practicing at the same time. And those are things that help us to kind of like be better versions of ourselves. And the Metta Sutra talks a lot, and practicing Metta talks a lot about loving kindness is one way that it is interpreted as or translated to in English. But another way that I find is kind of less flowery. I think just Westerners, we think of love and we think of, pink hearts and romance, and we hear that. And really, it's goodwill. So this is thinking about having an open heart and having goodwill towards all. And I really picked this subject so close to Christmas because I feel like in the Christmas month at Christmas time, we all, even Christmas cards will say, and some hymns, goodwill to all men, right? So we open our hearts and pocketbooks and we donate change to the bell ringers, and maybe we do some sort of service in that month. And I just really want to think about and talk about how the Buddha wrote, these are things we should be doing all the time. So in the Metta Sutra, which we will read it tonight, how can we practice goodwill to negate ill will in our hearts and in our practice and in our lives? And so that's really what the Metta Sutta is. And when we practice metta meditation, it's a kind of abbreviated version of the Metta Sutta. So we'll go through the Metta Sutta, reading it, and then line by line, kind of a little bit of explanation, and then we'll practice metta meditation. So I wanted to just start with a very short sit in the beginning, just so that we can kind of arrive here. And so we'll just maybe do like a 10-minute meditation right now. I'll walk you through it just to kind of arrive and ground in, and then we'll get back on track with talking about the Metta Sutta. So go ahead and find a comfortable position. I like to, if I'm sitting in a chair, make sure that my feet are flat on the ground. Really think about your connection of your body to the space that you're in. So feeling the floor under your feet, the chair under your bottom. Notice where you feel the backs of your legs connected. And think of yourself as planting yourself in this moment. You have arrived, you're here. And planting yourself into the space that you're in, and being here and present with yourself, with everyone else that's here tonight. So straighten your spine, stacking your vertebrae one on top of the other. Sitting with some respect and nobility. Soften your stomach if you can. Release anything that you're holding right there and relax that. If you want to, it can be helpful to pull your shoulders up, pull them back, and then let them fall to the side of your body. You can rest the palms of your hands downward on your lap and just relax your hands completely. knowing there's nothing for them to do in this moment. When we pulled our shoulders back, hopefully you felt some opening in your chest area. So just allowing our front body to be soft and open, and letting our back be strong and supportive. You can tuck your chin slightly and allow your gaze to be downward. And just relax all the muscles in your face, letting your face be expressionless. So unhinge or unclench your jaw. Rest the tip of your tongue on the back of your teeth. Let go of any tension you might be feeling in your cheeks, eyes, or eyebrows. And let your eyelids be heavy. You can leave your eyes slightly open or close them. It's up to you. And relax your forehead and let your crown of your head reach up. And again, let your bottom be grounded in. And just breathe your normal way of breathing. So there's no special technique of breathing. Just allow your body to do what it normally does. But the challenge here, or the ask, is to notice what happens in your body as you breathe. So can you be present with each breath as you inhale and exhale? So you can do this by following the path of the breath. As you inhale, notice as the air enters your nostrils, travels down the back of your throat, inflates the lungs. Perhaps your breath goes as deep as your belly. And then as you release, follow the path of the air back out and up. Noticing all steps along the way, even something as minute as a possible temperature change around your nostrils on the exhale. And then begin again. Of course, it's very possible that thoughts will come, and that's natural and okay. And if you can, let a thought come and let it go. You're advanced. Many of us will get caught up, and that's okay. And just when you notice that you're not focused in on your breath any longer, kindly say to yourself, I'm going to begin again. And come back to the next breath. Each new breath that comes is a new moment to be present with. Okay, you may bring your meditation to a close. Thank you for your presence and thank you for your practice in that short meditation. And this means we have arrived. So I just do want to say again, thank you to Mississippi Insight Meditation for inviting me to speak tonight. What we're talking about is the Metta Sutta. And so what I'm going to do is share my screen and we're going to read it. What I have pulled this from is you'll see there's the Pali translation. So there's the Pali version of it and then the English translation. And this is from, if you wanted to go and find it yourself, it's on Spirit Rock's website. And I can send that to LaDonna later if she, if you want to share it with anyone. But let me go ahead and share my screen. So this is the Buddha's discourse on loving kindness. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it, but I think it is helpful sometimes to read along if you want, or if you just want to listen, that's fine too. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness, having glimpsed the state of perfect peace. Let them be able, honest, and upright, gentle in speech, meek and not proud, contented, and easy to support, with few duties and simple in living, tranquil in senses, masterful and modest, without greed for supporters. Also, let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Let them cultivate the thought. Let them cultivate the thought. May all be well and secure. May all beings be happy. Whatever living creatures there be, without exception, weak or strong, long, huge, or middle-sized, or short, minute, or bulky, whether visible or invisible, and those living far or near, the born and those seeking birth, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none wish others harm in resentment or in hate. Just as with her own life, a mother shields her child, her only child, from hurt, let all embracing thoughts for all beings be yours. Cultivate a limitless heart of goodwill for all throughout the cosmos, in all its height, depth, and breadth. Love that is untroubled and beyond hatred or enmity. As you stand, walk, sit, or lie, so long as you're awake, pursue this awareness with your might. It is deemed the divine abiding here and now. Holding no more to wrong views, a pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So, how many of you have read that before? Anyone? Okay, good. So basically, this is a sutta that is, translated from Pali. Of course, we have to take into consideration this is thousands of years old. So, I mean, I'm sure there is kind of like some room for difference in translation, but this is mostly understood to be what the Buddha said as far as the teaching on loving kindness. I'm going to show you one other graphic that just kind of shows you in practicing metta, we're practicing this idea of goodwill, but we should also be practicing, I'm sure if you've been familiar with any type of the teachings of the Buddha, is that I feel like there's lots of lists, right? There's lots of different things we should be thinking about and, ways of being. And sometimes, it can kind of be overwhelming, and I really like visual aids sometimes to think about this. So let me see if I can pull this up. And I'll come back on in a second, but let's see. So this is, if you look right here, loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. Those are the 4 Brahma Viharas. And so these are also, Brahma Vihara is the immeasurables. So we can be doing this, we can be practicing loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity, all at the same time. So the part that we're talking about tonight is loving kindness. And if you've ever done a metta meditation, when we think about loving kindness, metta, that's the metta is oftentimes translated into loving kindness. The first thing you do when you say these phrases is to myself. You're thinking about giving that towards yourself, then your family, then relatives, friends, enemies, even someone that is neutral. A lot of times people will direct, and then people in your country and people in your world. So this, I really, I don't really like this. I love the way this circle is. This guy, he kind of reminds me of the guy from not Family Guy, but I don't know. I don't really like that drawing, but of the guy. But I feel like it's I'm trying to think of King of the Hill. That's what he reminds me of, the little boy from King of the Hill. But anyway, I just like the circle and the idea of we're practicing 4 things at a time, you know, like these are all things that we can embody in our life at all times. But when you're practicing metta meditation, which we'll do a little bit later, we think about it towards ourselves. Okay. And we think about it then towards people we love, and we go out and out and out. And I think even in the Metta Sutta, so doing a loving kindness meditation is kind of like the shorter version of the Metta Sutta. So going back to the Metta Sutta, I want to just talk about it in each section. Okay. Does it help? Is it helpful for you to look at the words that I'm talking about, or should I just read them out? What do you guys think? Do you like looking at the words I'm talking about? Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen to that. Hold on. There's the King of the Hill guy. Let me go back to this. Okay. So in this first stanza, and probably I think one of my favorite parts is the first line. This is what should be done. So this isn't saying like, oh, you know, take it or leave it. I love that it says this is what should be done. It's very certain. And so one who is skilled in goodness, having glimpsed the state of perfect peace. Let them be able, honest, and upright, gentle in speech, meek, and not proud. So I think that part of when we are practicing metta or even meditation, we do have the intention of being someone that is skilled in goodness, right? We are taking our time to be at peace with ourselves. We are taking a time to be honest with who we are as people. And so I think that the good intention of metta is a way of what we should be doing. So this sutta is talking a lot about characteristics that we should embody or try to embody as good practitioners and good people of the earth and the cosmos, as it mentions later. Contented and easy to support, with few duties and simple living, tranquil in their senses, masterful and modest, without greed for supporters. So contentment. This goes along with this other Brahma Vihara of equanimity, like being okay with what is. And a lot of times this is what monastics also, go for in their lives, is like they're getting what they need and nothing more. So I like the idea of being easy to support and with few duties and simple in living, tranquil in their senses, masterful and modest. So, I mean, I think all of us could really hope to be that way. I'm realistic to think that we're not always like that, but I do think of monks when I think of this: tranquil with their senses, masterful and modest, without greed for supporters. if you know anything about Buddhist monks, they eat once a day and they have one meal before noon, and they do count on their supporters to give them what is given to them, their alms daily. So, but we can also put that into our own lives. So, are we able to be content with the simple things and not want for so much, you know? Also, and then this is the next stanza that we're going to do. Also, let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. So, if you have wisdom to the way you want to be, having that idea, being someone that instead of reacts, you respond, right? Being someone that you have the wisdom of what you know is the right way of being for yourself, and letting you let them cultivate the thought. So that's like, don't I feel like there's many ways to interpret this too, by the way, guys, but for me that kind of means like, be a thoughtful person and think of before you react. So may all be well and secure, and may all beings be happy. So that's a very common line in the abbreviated version of metta meditation. May all beings be happy. And I mean, really, I do want all beings to be happy. And that means everyone. And so that's another thing that just really opens my heart in this Metta Sutta, is that we're talking about everyone. We're not going to even leave out people or things that maybe we initially would have. And that's part of the exercise of loving kindness, is to open your heart and open your goodwill to all living beings, all. And then in the rest of this stanza says, whatever living creatures there be, without exception, weak or strong, long, huge, or middle size, or short, minute, or bulky. I love how in this sutta, the Buddha is really like being exceptionally inclusive. So we're not leaving anything out by saying all these adjectives of long, huge, middle-sized, short, minute, bulky. I just really love that, because I feel like it's like just so inclusive to the point where it's almost extra, you know? So again, this is some more adjectives: whether invisible or invisible, and those living far or near, born and those seeking birth, may all beings be happy. So I feel like this is just a reiteration of talking about everyone, everywhere, every living thing. And if we know anything about the interconnectedness of the universe, and even things that I would say have been documented and discovered after this was written, everything is interconnected. So it does make sense to have that goodwill for all of it to stay working, all of our systems, all of our and again, you know, I think COVID has really taught us like something can happen all the way across the world and affect us here, right? So I feel like us opening our hearts and having goodwill to all living beings helps to make that be I think that it helps us to be open to the fact that we need to be having this goodwill towards all, and may all beings be happy, like it says here. So this is kind of like, to me, in the characteristics of the way to be, kind of like in the stanzas that we're talking about, like the monk-like qualities, or that's how I referred to them. So let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none wish others harm in resentment or in hate. So, you know, I feel like, especially in the past few years of, you know, divisiveness in our, especially in our American culture, almost like it's okay, like we don't like them because they're this, or we don't like them because they're this. But this is saying have goodwill to all, and that we are not going to be, as people that practice loving kindness, the type that deceive another or that despise any being in any state, and let none wish harms on others harm. I don't wish harm on other people. And I don't want to be ever in that state of mind that I do. So no resentment or hate. Um, how many of you guys, or well, I can't see you because I'm sharing my screen, but think about sometimes when you think about someone that you kind of are like on the outs with. Or I know for my family, I think my grandmother was Catholic. I don't know why I'm telling you she's Catholic, but she had a lot of kids. So she had 5 kids. And I feel like every single one of her children have been disowned at one point or another. I know that's probably TMI of my family history, but it's amazing to me that, like, at one point or another, she's like, I'm not speaking to that kid. And so I just feel like I don't want to think that I could even be that way towards a child for sure, but even really anyone. So think about when you have this kind of like grudge, let's just say, against someone. When you feel that way, it takes up so much of your energy. It's really almost like that is um it's exhausting, right? It's exhausting to have someone on your bad list. And I think that something that is a beautiful expression and a beautiful thing that ends up happening when you're practicing metta meditation is that many people can learn to either forgive or let go of this grudge. And what that does is it just opens your heart up and opens yourself up for more goodwill. And so I've heard it said that goodwill is the antidote to ill will. Or I don't know if you've ever heard of the saying, someone was living in my brain rent free, or like you have this thing that is just kind of always aching at you because you have to keep track of like, oh, I'm mad at that person. But what about if you let it go? Like you can learn to, in your heart, open up more to the way of having goodwill towards that person and let them be a lesson to you and move on. And to me, that is just a really, I don't know, it really opens you up to be able to um, just have a bigger heart, I think. And this isn't like a magic spell, you know what I mean? This is truly, and that's when I first started doing metta meditation, I kind of felt like, what are we doing here? Like saying all this repetitive stuff. But once I started to really understand, like, that it comes from the sutta, and that this is, an aspirational way of, in this sutta is giving us kind of like some rules to live by. And I just really feel like it has that power once you're practicing this to um, basically kind of purify your own heart and purify your own mind to um, loving kindness and this this idea of the entire sutta. I think I just went off on a tangent, so I'm sorry about that. But let's go to the next lines, which is the good example of unconditional love, a mother and child, right? So just as her own life, a mother shields her only child from hurt. So I want to go back to that because I feel like when I first read this, I really was thinking about the way a mother loves her child. But read that first line again because it says, just as with her own life, a mother shields her child. So this goes back to that example that a lot of people have made with, I really loathe the term self-care, but I do really support the idea of self-love and metta towards yourself. So just as with her own life, so we put our oxygen mask on first in order to save our child, right? We have to take care of ourselves. Just as with her own life, a mother shields her child, her only child, from hurt. Let all embracing thoughts from for all beings be yours. So we're going to be like mothers to all people. So that doesn't mean that we are going to wipe everyone's noses and, pay for their college. It's really more about having the idyllic, nurturing and open-heartedness that a mother has for all beings. So I want to have that in my heart. I don't have to show it to anyone. I don't have to say it to anyone, but I do want to have that nature within myself to have that sort of unconditional positive regard. So that is a very like a therapy term that people use, unconditional positive regard. I'm going to, at face value, have that towards you when I first meet you, because there's nothing that I should let deter me from having that open-hearted nature towards you. So here's the last couple stanzas. So cultivate a limitless heart of goodwill. So again, the open-heartedness. And this is another great list of inclusivity for all throughout the cosmos, in all its height, depth, and breadth. Love that is untroubled and beyond hatred or enmity. And like, I didn't know what enmity meant, but it's kind of like hostility, or we're not going to have hatred or hostility towards anything. And that's hard because we all go through things that we may be, having that, but this is the ultimate way that we could be if we try. And it's every day by day, every hour by hour, every minute by minute, we can have that chance to, in this present moment, have this kind of open-hearted, loving kindness way of being. And here is another list of like, no matter what. So you can be standing, walking, sitting, laying, as long as you are awake. So this can mean like awaken to your true nature. So as long as you are awake, pursue this awareness with your might. It is deemed the divine abiding here and now. So we are being like deities, right? To abide in this way. And like, I feel like I take a lot of respect and honor to thinking that maybe I could be this way every single day of my life. Am I? Probably not. Nobody is, but I do have that will, and I do have that hope for myself. And I do want to do that in my practice, on the cushion and off. So lastly, on the last little part, holding no more to wrong views, a pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So this is kind of saying like, we've reached enlightenment if we can be this way. We've reached the pinnacle of being the way of the Buddha, and reached that pure-hearted one, right? We are a pure-hearted one, clarity of vision, freed from all sense desires. So as we know in many of the Buddhist teachings, we're letting go of craving, we're letting go. So these are more lists in Buddhism that you probably have studied with Christy, but I don't know. I just really feel like this sutta is encapsulating of all things that I want to be as a human, and living this path, walking this path as a Buddhist, or even just as a human, trying to have an open-hearted heart to all things. And it takes practice. Just like anything that we aspire to be or do, you have to really train yourself to think that you could do that. Sharon Salzberg, who is another Buddhist teacher, a very famous Buddhist teacher, she writes, to have a heart as wide as the world. So I like that idea of thinking about this as loving kindness, is opening your heart to spaces and in a huge way that you couldn't even imagine, like the vastness of it. And then going back to something that we talked about before, about really thinking about it towards yourself, that's hard. I mean, I think that if I played my inner thoughts towards myself out loud, or I spoke to someone else the way I speak to myself, then they would not be my friend. I think a lot of us struggle with that, And I loved this quote that's from a Buddhist teacher who said, to love oneself genuinely is to come into harmony with life itself, including all others. So, wow, I would like to come into harmony. I would like to give this open-hearted way of being to everyone I come in contact with. But it's almost, as it's a cliche thing to say, but like, you can't do that if you're not doing it towards yourself. You can't do it fully, I think, And so I really feel like I idea of giving this, all of these, I don't even want to call them rules, but just the way it should be, open-heartedness towards ourselves first, is, it can be a challenge, but it also is so nurturing once we start to feel that. Maybe we don't do it every single sentence, you know, you're not going to switch it on and off like a light, but I think that you can do this practice. And one of my teachers, who, her name is Terry Ray, when I first learned about metta meditation, um, she said, you know, a lot of times people find it so hard to do it towards themselves first, that instead of saying, may I be peaceful, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be enlightened to my true nature, may I be free. That's usually the first line. What if you, instead of the first line, thinking of yourself, think of someone that you do have unconditional love towards? Maybe it is a child. Maybe it is, you know, an animal. Maybe it is some, you know, there's someone, a nephew, a niece, a baby. Okay. The baby hasn't done anything to you yet, right? You can hold it towards a baby. Think about that loving kindness to them first, because it gets your heart kind of revved up and warmed up, because you know you can do it to the baby, right? And make that be your first step, and then go back, and the next person is you. Okay, so then first we're going to say, may that baby be peaceful, may they be happy, may they be healthy, may they be awakened to their own true nature, and may they be free. Like, we're wishing that for them in this moment and all moments forward, and really have that warm-hearted connectedness to that, and then turn it towards yourself. So, may I be happy, may I be peaceful, and really believe that within your heart. May I be awakened to the light of my own true nature, may I be free. And then as we practice, we go outward, right? So now think of someone that you love, a friend, a family member, and then you think about it for them. And then the next step is to go outward towards neutral beings. I love this step of it, because how many encounters do we have in a day with people that they're neither here nor there? Like, I'm probably never going to see the guy that I pumped my air next to when I filled up my time on this. You know, I'm never going to see him again. But was I standoffish to him? Did I have a conversation with him? Did I say, hey, it's still going, use my air? You know, like, I feel like we have all these opportunities to give this loving kindness to someone that, on the cushion or off. But think about someone that you just neutrally saw at the store, or, you know, just someone that you may or may never see again. Maybe it's someone you see every day, but you just don't even really interact with. The security guard outside your building that you just drive right past every day. Think of them and give each of these steps in your heart, reciting it to them. And next, this is the challenging one, the person that you have that grudge against, or I hate saying enemy. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to have a street fight with anyone tomorrow. You know what I mean? But, you know, there's people that we are like, I don't like that person, you know, like, or they've rubbed you the wrong way, or they did something that hurt you. What if we could give that to them? They don't have to know about it, but it's us exercising that empathy and that open-heartedness and that goodwill towards them. That is what we're training ourselves to have, that compassion and have that ability to just try to do it, you know, try to do it with as much realness and authenticity as you can. And just in those 4 sentences. And then we go outward to, like, everyone in this Zoom call. And then we can go outward to everyone in Mississippi. And I don't know if everyone's in Mississippi, maybe we're going to the whole country. I mean, you think about it, like, literally think about all those people, no matter what they've done, no matter who they are. We're going to open ourselves to that, giving that goodwill. And then the whole cosmos, as it says in the Metta Sutta, Like, I always think about like, okay, well, how did he know about cosmos? You know what I mean? Like this thousands of years ago. But to me, it just shows that there's so much vastness in the universe. We don't even know what we're sending the goodwill to, but we want to send it to all of that. And to me, it just blows my mind. And it also is like, yeah, I want to do that. Like, that is a good aspirational feeling, to be open hearted that big. So those are the steps of metta. And what I want to show you now is a couple. So the thing is that's awesome about metta is like you can really tailor it towards yourself. Okay. I've seen a lot of metta prayers that are written towards a certain thing. So maybe you're like, I'll try to share my screen and show you, but like there's some that are like for anxiety. This is what I'm working on. This is, there's some that are like, and I don't want to say they're antidotes, right? This is not a fix all, but this is something that you can practice, and you can use these phrases that can at least give you comfort in struggle, and also help you to exercise this openingness. Because I mean, I don't know, there's certain times where I felt like I'm kind of like shut down to all of this, like even the concept of this, because I'm jaded about something, or, I'm just not feeling it, or I'm just like, whatever. But I feel like when I practice metta, I start to go, well, you know, I feel a change in myself, and I feel that exercise, that muscle widening. And I just feel like that is so sort of amazing. I mean, it is amazing that we can do that for ourselves. It's a way to nurture ourselves. So let me show you a couple different ones. And so this is, let me get onto my share. So let's see if I can make this bigger. Okay, so this is kind of showing you the different ways to say it, right? So may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free of suffering, may I be free from mental anxiety, may I live in peace, and may my life be blessed with ease. I'm kind of reading these fast because I'm just like in the matter of, in the notion of time. But when you read these, or when you recite this, really say it with conviction, say it out loud, say it so that you're practicing the meaning of the words and you can really feel it. You can say it very, very slowly. I would do it slowly. But then, we're switching from may I to you, and then to we. Here's another one. So may you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for all beings. This one I thought was funny because it has a unicorn and rainbows. But may all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body or mind, obtain an ocean of happiness, joy, and joy by the virtue of my merits. So I'm practicing this for all beings. And I know that you guys have talked about dedicating the merit, but I feel like that one is really a true dedication of merit in that way. So I think maybe you see, like, there's different ways to say this Metta Sutta, right? The Metta Sutta had so many details in it of ways to practice and how to be. And I love that these are just variations of almost like the Cliff Notes version of the Metta Sutta, if you want to call it that. So again, I can send all these to LaDonna, but this one is great too. Be free from danger and suffering. Be peaceful and happy. Have abundance and praise. And may all beings have clarity and understanding. So I guess you can read this too, but may I be safe and protected, healthy and strong, and truly happy. And for all beings, young and old, near and far, every direction, be held in great loving kindness. May they be safe and protected, healthy and strong, and truly happy. So yeah, I just love all of these versions. And I just wanted to let you know that it's almost as though you can tailor it to what you need, right? And then again, in loving kindness or any meditation practice that you have, it isn't like bibbity bobbity boo, now you're healed. Now you've done it, right? You say it one time and it's done. No, it's not a magic spell. And I feel like when I first started doing metta, I was like, what are we doing? You know, I said that earlier, like, I don't get it. But anything comes, you more knowledge and more opening and more awareness comes with repetition. So I would say if you find any one of those that you like or the simplest form, practice that one on a regular basis. So maybe you're saying Metta Mondays. I'm doing it every Monday, you know? And or at the end of a daily sit, if you have that type of practice, then you'll just recite that. And I do find it helpful to say it out loud. You can read it, but I feel like when you say it, it's kind of like you feel it more in your body. But find something that is the short version of the Metta Sutta and remind yourself of it as a practice. So add that in maybe once a week, maybe, you know, every morning, whatever works for you. You know, there's no rules. But as you do that, then you're able to kind of feel the meaning of it, I think, more and more every time you do it. That's at least my experience. So we are almost out of time, I think, but I wanted to do one metta meditation that is one of my really, I would say she's just like a prolific Buddhist teacher who I did get to practice with when she came to Mississippi several years ago. Her name is Zenju Earthling Manuel, and she is also a poet. And so she wrote, it's a poem, but I feel like it really is a metta meditation. It is her version of metta in her own words. And I'd like to do this as a metta meditation so you can just close your eyes and listen. I'm going to share the screen because I sometimes, like I said, feel like reading it is also helps kind of plant it in within yourself like more, or, you know, however you want to do it. I just want you to think about this as a meditation, and then we're going to sit with it just for a few minutes after I finish reading it, if that works. So again, however you want to take this in, it's up to you. One moment. And it's called For All Beings. So just as all beings, it's inclusive, completely and utterly inclusive. For All Beings by Zenju Earthlyn Manuel. May all beings be cared for and loved, be listened to, understood and acknowledged despite different views, be accepted for who they are in this moment, be afforded patience, be allowed to live without fear of having their lives taken away or their bodies violated. May all beings be well in its broadest sense, be fed, be clothed, be treated as if their lives is precious, be held in the eyes of each other as family. May all beings be appreciated, feel welcomed anywhere on the planet, be freed from acts of hatred and desperation, including war, poverty, slavery, and street crimes. Live on a planet housed and protected from harm. Be given what is needed to live fully without scarcity. Enjoy life, living without fear of one another. Be able to speak freely in a voice and mind of undeniable love. May all beings receive and share the gifts of life, be given time to rest, be still, and experience silence. May all beings be awake. Thank you so much for taking that in. I feel like it's so beautifully written and inclusive and modern. So that's why I really love that so much. She's a great teacher, so I'll send that also to LaDonna so you can have a copy of that, and hopefully there's some way for you can get it. But that's really my entire presentation, or discussion on the Metta Sutra. And I would love for anyone to have if you have any questions. I am a layperson. I am not ordained, and I do really follow about Buddhism, and I have studied with so many teachers. But if I can answer it, I will. Or if you want to just discuss anything that I've brought up, I would love for that. We have a couple more minutes, so just open it up.
Thank you, Beth. That was beautiful. I really enjoyed each one of those metta meditations, and the poem, the last one, was really beautiful. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate you.
Thanks, Beth. I enjoyed it too. And as you were speaking, I was reflecting on the past couple of years, and I didn't realize that I was maybe doing a little meta when I was being very thoughtful and prayerful about the skyrocketing numbers in 2020 around the world. It was just so heartbreaking for me. And, I felt that interconnectedness, even though our numbers may not have been the same at that time. But to see that was just let me know the interconnectedness. And then as the numbers began to increase in the United States, it really brought home the interconnectedness. But thank you. And I really am going to look for that last one. I like that. So, okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Vicki. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Don't be a stranger.
I won't. I'm going to do better. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Beth. We really appreciate you coming. And in the beginning, I forgot to let people know that you're with Flowering Lotus. Is there anything you'd like to add? You want to plug anything that y'all are doing?
Well, I am a board director, or the interim board director right now, of Flowering Lotus Meditation, and we do meditation retreats. And right now we're still all online, of course, because of COVID. We do have the hope and dream that we'll be able to do an in-person retreat this year. I don't know, it's so hard to navigate that. So I'm not really sure, but I would just like to say that hopefully at some point, your Sangha or all the Sanghas of Mississippi can get together, or, of the Southeast or whatever. Whoever can make it can come, because I feel like we're all kind of really missing that true connectedness of being in the same room. But I'm so thankful for technology, because I feel like we also have had the benefit of being able to practice together like this. So
absolutely,
I really appreciate, floweringlotusmeditation.org. You could join our mailing list. We send out really nothing until there's something happening. So we're pretty tame. If you join our mailing list, we're not going to spam you, because we are all volunteers. We're all run on volunteers, and we just do the best we can. But at some point we're going to have another in-person, but we will have online this year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough for being here and standing.
Thank you for having me anytime. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank everybody. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Vicki, for coming tonight. We're really grateful for that. And hopefully we will see each other. Chris will be back soon from her vacation. We will meet again in 2 weeks, which I think is the 15th. Is that right? 7/14, the 18th. I think that's 2 Tuesdays from today, right? The 18th. I'm going to be starting some American Sign Language classes, and they'll be, unfortunately, every Tuesday night for the next 6 weeks. So I probably will not be able to show up, but I will always keep you all in my thoughts, and I will see you after that class is over.
Okay. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.